morning, Wind Chasers. Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. Let's see what the Holy Spirit is doing these days. So, I have been reading a book recently by Erwin McManus called The Last Arrow. I read through it once real quick, and I thought, you know what? I feel like the Lord leading me to read through it again. And so last week I talked to you about today, but I want to talk to you about maybe that other aspect. I alluded to it, so I'm going to talk about it because the way the Lord's been speaking to me so far as I read this book. And I want to read to you about the call of Elisha, the successor, if you will, of Elijah. 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 19. So Elijah went from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat. He was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen, and he himself was driving the 12th pair. Elijah went up to him and threw his cloak around him. Elisha then left his oxen and ran after Elijah. "Let me kiss my father and mother goodbye, and then I will come with you." "Go back," Elijah replied. "What have I done to you?" So Elisha, boy, that's interesting. So Elisha left him and went back. He took his yoke of oxen and slaughtered them. He burned the plowing equipment to cook the meat and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he set out to follow Elijah and became his attendant. So here's one of the things that God has been speaking to me about which God has been speaking to me. Use proper English here. I are an educated man. There's a line, a quote from the Nero Wolfe series, the old A&E series from about 20 years ago or something. It's a little tradition for my wife and I to watch some of those on New Year's Day. We've done marathons with them and stuff and binge watch them. But there's a wonderful line in there that Maury Chaykin says, who plays the main character, Nero Wolfe. And he says to this lady, "Madam, everyone has a past. Everyone has a past." Yes, even Pastor Mark has a past. Things that we wish we wouldn't have gone through, whether it was something done to us or something we did or something we experienced. I run into people as I have counseled with them through the years, and I hear horrific stories sometimes. And I'm amazed at people. By the way, I'm going to just give a shameless plug here. You know what? Don't let anybody look down on you if you go to see a counselor or a mental health professional. A good one, that is. There's some that are not, but I have a counselor I go to, a Christian counselor, and he's a good man. He's a good counselor, and I go because every now and then I need an oil change, as one of my professors in the seminary said. But that's a good thing to do once in a while, and have that, because we all need to deal with our past, and sometimes we need a different perspective, and someone to help us kind of hash through it. And there are some things that we have learned in our past that we need to take with us going forward, but there's a lot of baggage that we have that we need to burn it. We need to burn it. We can't change it. There's nothing we can change about it. All we can do is move forward and hopefully do better than we did before. But Elijah, speaking of people of the past, Elijah, this great prophet, he goes and takes on the prophets of Baal, and he has almost like a nervous breakdown or something, just an emotional breakdown. He's tired. Man, this was quite the party, and it's like, wow, he's just done. And God has to go find him out underneath this bean tree. He's looking for Jack, I guess. I don't know. And he's on there hiding, and he's like tired. He goes, "Take a nap." Sometimes, folks, you just got to take a nap. It's the most spiritual thing you can do. And then eat something. That's the one I usually go to. But Elijah's he's running. He's tired. I don't want to be any part of this anymore. And we're coming off of COVID, and I keep reading about how pastors are leaving the ministry because they're just exhausted. And so he goes and he finds Elisha. Now here's the thing. God will find you, people. You might be in the farthest field plowing with the 12th team of oxen, but God knows exactly where you're at. So if there's a word I'm going to give you today, quit playing run sheep run with God, and just quit playing games and just let God find you and surrender to Him and do what He's asking you to do. And so Elijah comes up, throws his cloak over him. It doesn't sound like Elijah says a word to him. I think he winked at him. Here you go, kid. You're on. You can hear Whitney Houston singing in the background, One Moment in Time. You know, this is his moment. He goes, wait a minute, I gotta go kiss my mom and dad goodbye. Elijah's like, do what you gotta do, kid. And then he comes running after him, and here's what's interesting. He kills and sacrifices the oxen on his plow. He gets rid of the plow, burns the plow, and he cooks up the meat on it. And then he has a big feast, feeds it to all the people, and they have a big sacrifice because he realizes what God's doing. And then he goes and he follows Elijah, and he becomes his attendant. One of the things that I find today that I find troubling, and I catch myself in this too, so it's, you know, there's three fingers pointing back to me as I'm pointing at you, so just bear with me, is I find this so much today with new believers, is younger believers, just sometimes even older believers. So there's certain believers I see this with. I'll just put it like that. I won't qualify it at all. They want the best of both worlds. They want the fire insurance, as we call it. I don't want to go to hell, so I'll give my life to Christ, but they never really give their life to Christ. They just don't want to go to hell. But they're missing out on the idea of serving the Lord, doing what God asks to do, being in a relationship. Salvation is not about avoiding hell. Salvation is about being in a relationship with Jesus Christ and living for Him and serving Him and finding abundant life in Him, which does not mean money and riches and all these things. Okay, that's get over that. I always use the phrase, I ain't got a lot of money, but I have a lot of fun, and I do have a lot of fun. You don't have to have toys to play. You can just, you just play. You have an imagination. We just enjoy life. And sometimes that enjoyment is sitting with people and helping them walk through their junk and helping them look at their past and say, okay, let's burn it. Because that's really what Elijah's doing. Elisha is doing. He's saying, this thing that I was supposed to do, I thought I was supposed to be a farmer all my life, and here comes the prophet and says, no, you're going to be a prophet. There are times we have to burn the boats. There's a song I think King and Country sings called Burn the Boats, Burn the Ships. It was referred to a conqueror. I think it might have been, I don't know which one it was. I get them all confused. One of those conquerors. Some Caesar or Rome or something, the Romans or something like that. Anyway, lands, he tells his soldiers, his army, whatever, burn the ships. What's that mean? There's no going back, is what it means. There's no going back. Peter tried that. He betrays Christ, denies it. What's Peter do? He goes back to fishing. I'm going to go back to fishing. I'm going to go back to what I know. I'm going to go back to what's comfortable. This is all I should have never done this in the first place. You ever done that? If you're a pastor, there's been times you feel, oh man, did I miss it? Maybe I'm not supposed to be. Maybe I'm not supposed to be a pastor. Maybe I missed it. Wow, I could have had such a good life. You hear about other people and, oh, they're traveling, they're doing this, they're doing that. You're driving a 19-year-old car, they're driving a new one. Did I miss it, Lord? Prosperity gospel sound pretty good to me right now. Elijah probably had a pretty lucrative career. Elisha had a pretty lucrative career being a farmer. It was hard work, but he was like, hey, it's good living, good work if you can get it. But then he becomes a prophet. And he starts really making an impact and doing some really great things. And you don't have to be a preacher, by the way, to make an impact. In fact, in many cases I talk to people, I was a Sunday school teacher, a layman. I just preached on this in my church. Get rid of the phrase, just a layman. There is no such thing as just a layman. It is not, we don't diminish laymen. Layman can have a huge impact. I've had laymen make a huge impact on me. But one of the things that we have to come to, and the Lord's talking to me about, there are some things that we need to burn and give to the Lord. And say, God, I'm surrendering this to you, and if you want to, if it's time for me to get rid of it, it's time for me to get rid of it. Sometimes there might be some good things that you need to get rid of. There might be some relationships that you need to burn. I'm not saying go burn anybody or set them on fire. I'm saying that you need to say this, I need to let this go. I have ran into some young pastors who were in my youth group some 25, almost 30 years ago. I'm proud of them. They're doing a good job. And I think about it, they have burned their youth pastor. And they burned me. And I want to do that. I don't want them thinking, anything good maybe they got from me they want to take forward. That's great. But I hope that they go and go beyond me. And they are. That's a good thing. And I have, I hope I have done well by my pastor, who had a huge influence on me. But I had to go, and he knew I had to go. He knew I had to go. And so there are some things, folks, that we gotta burn, so to speak. We have to sacrifice them to God and say, God, I give you this because I don't know what to do with it, and I don't want it to hold me back anymore. So, folks, I'm going to give you something to think about there. So think about it. Is there some things that maybe God's saying to you that you, some things from your past that you need to burn? You need to just let them go. Maybe you need to write them down on a piece of paper, and you need to set them on fire and just burn it in your backyard or something, or throw it in your fireplace or something. And say, I'm hanging on to this, and it's keeping me from moving forward with what God wants me to do. So I'm going to leave it right there, wind chasers. Keep chasing the wind because the wind is chasing you. Until next time, I'm Pastor Mark.